Alright lads, so in less than 12 hours time, we are going to be getting the Choose a 6-star for the end of year celebration, and I want to talk about it, giving you lads a quick potential guide on who you should be picking when it comes to the Choose a 6-star. This is something that happened for the 6th anniversary, and I never made a video about it. I never talked about it, so I want to do it now in this case. Now, this is a general guide to potentially who you might want to pick, right? You don't have to take this for word. Best thing I can advise is to pick whoever you think looks cool. At the end of the day, this happens every like 6 months, right? It's not a rarity, even though it kind of is. You'll eventually pick most of the characters up here. It only does include seasonals and premium characters that have come out in the first 5.5 years of the game's lifespan. So it includes most premium seasonals, and most of these characters you will get eventually, right? They're not rare for the most part. The older characters are a tad bit rare, but if you play the game a lot, you eventually stack up a lot of tickets, and you will eventually pick up the character. Now, the way I sorted these characters, the way I grouped them, it was kind of hard for the most part, because it's hard to, make a tier list on BBS, because there are so many things in this game, a lot of variables where some characters shine in certain game modes than other, and it's hard to make a general PvE tier list. That said, even though I did say that, I will be making one in a couple of days' time, so stay tuned for that. But in general, this is what I recommend, right? So looking at the bottom, these are the characters that are going to give you 75 orbs. Now, these include pretty much most recent premium and some seasonals too, for example. So going from Yamamoto all the way to Noitora, the bottom list characters are more so newer characters, so they are better than the characters at the top. Again, these aren't ranked in order, by the way. I definitely recommend just picking these up if you are in need of orbs. These characters do get thrown into banners very often, so if you don't pick them up here, you'll eventually pick them up later. And realistically, the only reason why you'd pick a bunch of these characters is unless they're your favorite character, you're mainly just going for the orbs. The tier above that is the resurrection characters. So the resurrection characters are characters that are old enough that they get an upgrade version, so they get the pink stars, which we call resurrection. So because of that, because they do get an extra upgrade tier, you get an additional 75 orbs for maxing their character. So obviously, when it comes down to if you're just picking a character for orbs and you don't really care about the character itself, definitely go for these resurrectable characters. The ones I have listed here are all resurrectable. If you get them, you'll get 75 orbs upon getting them, because they come at level 200, and then you just got to max their level again to get another 75 orbs. These lot only give 75, so do keep that in mind. Moving on to here, we have the links. These are just some standout links. Most of these, if not all of these characters here, are resurrectable. So when it comes to maybe picking a character just for the orb count, let's say you want to get 150 orbs, I would definitely recommend picking some of these characters, because they are, one, resurrectable, so you get 150 orbs, and they're also very good links, and some of them are actually playable. Like, for example, this Aizen, Shinji, Soifon, even this Ruroka are all pretty much playable characters, especially this Ichigo too. And some of these characters, because they are old, they are a tad bit rarer than the newer characters, so maybe picking an old character isn't really a bad thing to do. You might not play with them all too much, but they are rarer because they don't show up on new banners, right? But the general idea for this tier is just link characters. They come with double links, so some of them are like full stam and no attack damage. That's a very good combination. Full stam and recharge, full stam and strong attack damage and recharge, NAD and DR. There's a lot of combinations going here, and realistically, the best thing I could do is recommend going onto BBS Simulator. It's a very good website for beginners and veterans alike. You can actually go on there and click on the character yourself and have a look over at the character if you're really confused on who you want to pick on. But most of these characters are just links for the most part, but you can definitely use some of them. And I pretty much use almost all of these characters as a link on almost all my characters, so I can definitely recommend picking up a link if you really want to. Next up, we have the Chronicle Quest bonus characters. Now, Chronicle Quest is a game mode where you can get Transcendence material. It's something that you're eventually going to farm every single month when you get to a certain point to max out your characters. It's kind of a pain, especially when you do like Chronicle Quest bonus characters. Some of these characters are kind of old, and once more, they're not going to get thrown to a bunch of banners, so maybe picking them up from here isn't really a bad thing to do. It really depends on what your priorities are. Most of these characters are definitely usable. For example, this Chan and Kenpachi are semi-decent Brave Battle characters too. That's the in-game PvP. Some of them are resurrectable, like this Renji right here, so you can get an additional 75 orbs, and some of them are actually playable, like this Fierce Battle, Ichigo, and Kenpachi. So there's a mixture of good and bad characters, but they're all Chronicle Quest characters, and eventually, as you go into this game, you're going to want to collect most of these characters, because it's going to save you a bunch of soul tickets every month when it comes to farming Chronicle Quest, which again is something you have to do if you do want to max transcend your characters. In a sense, these are probably some of the most valuable characters to get, because Caleb also charged you like $50 or £50 in-game to have a 1 in 5 chance of getting a Chronicle Quest character. So yeah, this tier is just for the Chronicle Quest characters. For a beginner, you might not see too many uses of these characters at the start, but once you eventually unlock Chronicle Quest and go into it, having a Chronicle Quest bonus character is going to save you a lot of time and soul tickets. So trust me, none of these characters are bad to pick up. Even the bad ones like Momo, for example, she's very bad. You don't ever want to play with her. She's a Chronicle Quest bonus, and she's never not going to be one, so she's always going to have value on your account. Don't get that twisted. After that, though, we have the Droplet characters, or in this case, Droplet character. She's the only one that has this. Essentially, this Mishiro is a semi-decent character. She's nothing amazing, but she does come with the skill at 17% mind droplet drop rate if you do use this character. So she's not a bad character to pick up if you really want to farm it. Especially if you do like Mishiro, she might not be a bad pick to go for. Although there are better Droplet characters out there, so maybe picking a Droplet character isn't going to be the wisest thing to do, but it's not a bad thing if you're only missing her. After that, we have the Links characters. In this case, we have Ruruka to farm Technique potions. We have Rukia and Lisa to farm Mind potions. Kisuke to farm Heart potions. And Momo to farm Power potions. Now, most of these characters are a tad bit outdated. Don't get me wrong. Kisuke is definitely like, if he wasn't Link's character, he'd be like up here, right? Kisuke is very good. In my opinion, if you don't have him, he's definitely a must pick. So he's a Link's character. I don't want to go into specifics on why you should pick them, but the main thing is that they're all Link's characters, right? These characters, by using them in an Inheritance Zone, which is a place to farm Link's potions, which you do eventually want to farm a decent amount of to work on your characters and make your characters stronger. Using these characters give you +5 per run. And in a co-op room, you get +20. And most co-op rooms nowadays pretty much require you to have a IZ character or a potion character like this. And that scared me. Shout out to Anonymous, much love, my G. So most of these characters, you're going to want to at least just have it just to get into the lobby, because if you don't have a Link's character, then people are less likely to let you into your lobby. So picking one of these characters, if not all of these characters, even though some of them are old, it's not the worst thing to do if you do need to just farm potions. Because just getting these characters will make people just carry for you, right? Because getting any of these characters and joining an IZ lobby, even if you aren't even worked on, people will gladly carry you. So they definitely have some value. Obviously, there are better characters with the Link's skill, but having just even the old generation of Link's characters, especially this Kisuke, because he is still the best one for the mind attribute, are good to have. It's good to have. That said, though, that's basically all the characters that have a specific use. The next couple of characters are just general good characters overall, right? I just had some highlights, ones that I like to personally go for. I put Mugetsu in here mainly because he's an anniversary character. He came out 2.5 years ago at this point. Definitely not the best character, probably one of the worst characters in this tier, but he is an anniversary character, and I know a lot of people maybe starting the game do like Mugetsu as a character. He's fun. He's good enough if you want to play with him. Like, sure, there are better characters, but it doesn't mean he's bad to play around with, right? He's an anniversary character. He's not too common, so picking him isn't too bad. Then we have some other NAD characters that I personally like to use still to this day. The Technique Hiyori, Fierce Battle Renji, and these are basically your NAD characters that are still semi-decent, worth using. Especially as a beginner, they can definitely carry you as a NAD character just to auto-content. Then we have Koga. Koga definitely still holds up. He is a somewhat older character for the most part. Even though he has fallen behind in terms of damage output compared to newer characters, he makes up with it in range. And again, he's an old character. He isn't all too featured in banners, so having him isn't really a bad thing to do. Grimmjow is a fairly common as a premium character, but he is still very solid, hits very, very hard, and for a new player, not a bad character to pick up. Byakuya is a seasonal, very powerful character too once more, and that's why I put him here. Seasonal characters are more rare than premiums, so picking him is not a bad idea, and same goes for Apache. It's Swimsuit Apache, and she's also very solid, very useful in a lot of content, really. Just general purpose SP characters are good here. Next up, we have the recommended. Now, there isn't too many characters. These are someone that I just really like. Nelio is a very solid NAD character, especially for Guild Quest, and that's why I have put her up this high. I personally really like this character. Yes, she has a problem with lacking guard break, but as a new player, she's not a really bad character to pick up, and she isn't too new to be so common, but she will definitely become common in the future. Maybe picking a seasonal character is the best thing to do here. After that, speaking of, we have a White Zangetsu, a Spirit Society version, who is also a NAD-based character with guard break, though, so he's one of the better NAD characters to pick in this, and he has a very cool design. If you do like White Zangetsu, he's not a bad character to go for. Then we have the two Machine Society characters, that being Nemu and Jodoichi, both very solid characters, some of the better seasons that we have received this year. They aren't bad. Personally, for me, I'm going to be trying to go for this Jodoichi, because I very much do like her, and she's definitely a lot usable compared to most other characters in this list. At the same time, though, I do want to preface one thing, is that they are classed as Valentine's characters, and we should be getting a Valentine's banner in literally a month's time from now. So they are very likely to appear in the Valentine's banner, whatever theme they want to go for this year. So they might be available to pull for again in a month's time. So if you do, let's say, hypothetically get Nemu or Yoruichi, maybe it's going to be a good idea to skip the banner that comes out in a month's time. And then lastly, of course, we have to just mention these two characters, the 5th anniversary characters. Still, because they haven't updated the pool to include 6th anniversary characters, these are still very solid characters. While Byakuya has still fallen off a tad bit, he is still a very powerful speed character to start off with for any new player. Even veterans still use him. I still use him, even though I don't really like using him all too much nowadays because I feel like he's fallen off just a tad bit. He is still like pretty much one of the best speed characters in the game. There's actually no reason not to pick him. I think if you are a new player, picking 5th anniversary Byakuya and Ichigo is definitely something that you just have to do because there's no other better character. The value these characters bring into your account, the usability that you have with these characters is kind of there. Like, you can really use them like anything you want to. I definitely recommend picking Ichigo over Byakuya though, in my opinion. Ichigo definitely still holds up more so than Byakuya because Ichigo has higher damage numbers, and also he inflicts weakening, which is a status element that if you inflict an enemy with weakening, they do 1 damage to you and you do more damage then. It's pretty much one of the best status elements in the game, and Ichigo's a very powerful character. You have like pretty much one of the best tied for first power character in the game and a top 2 speed character in the game. So I definitely recommend picking up these two characters if you can from this Choose of 6 stars. So yeah, with that said, I hope you guys did enjoy the video. That's just a general idea on maybe who you should consider picking. Don't take this list as gospel. I recommend just picking whoever you think looks cool and fun. That's just that's the best way to play this game, right? Most characters, especially the newer characters, even some down here that I included in the orb tier, let's say for example this Uryu, he can clear content. He can clear content. Yes, there are better characters, but it doesn't stop him from clearing content. And if you're an Uryu fan, then he's not a bad character to go for, right? The best thing to do is just pick characters you think you can have fun with, and that's realistically the best way to play. You don't have to stress about meta, just go for whatever you think looks fun. So with that said, hope you guys did enjoy the video. Let me know who you're hunting for in this Choose a 6 star. For me, it's personally Yoruichi, and I'll see you lads tomorrow. Peace.